But I want to talk like teams that you guys maybe they're not like top of the conference right now, maybe in a little bit of the middle of the pack, but you still think they have a chance to make a nice run in the postseason. What are some teams from each conference that you guys are eyeing?
I'll let you go first.
That's tough. That's tough. I don't think pretty much anything out east is going to be easy. I mean, right now, the 7 and the 8 seed, assuming they win their playing tournament games, are the Raptors and the Nets. The Nets obviously are a big name from a contender standpoint, but sitting in the 8 seed, man, that is a brutal first-round matchup for a 1 or a 2 seed.
Yeah.
That is brutal. And I don't necessarily think Nets are comfortable favorites to get out of the East, but they sure as hell aren't going to be easy to beat. And the same can be said for the Raptors. They're not obviously at the same level as the Nets, but they're a tough team to play. They compete, except for when they play bad teams, apparently. This is going to be a tough team to beat. So I don't think there's any easy outs in the East. And I think Denver are going to continue to be a team to look out for as well, as far as a not top-end team out West. As long as Jokic continues to play as the lead of the level as he has been, which I don't see why he wouldn't continue, they're not going to be an easy out, regardless of whether it's the Warriors that play them or the Grizzlies. They're going to be a tough matchup to play in the first round.
I would definitely look out for Denver. I think they have I've been loving what I'm seeing from Jokic recently. Barring the end of that Warriors game, it seems like he's just always doing the right thing. And just look at the stat sheet, look at the eye test, look whatever you need to look at. The man is just unstoppable. And a lot of the teams at the top of the West don't really have like a dominant big man, there's like Ayton is pretty good, obviously Rudy, but like the Mavericks, the Warriors, the Grizzlies, I don't think they have anybody that's stopping or even like coming close to slowing down Jokic. And even like he's still gonna put in some business against Rudy and Ayton. That's for sure. So it's just like a player that you don't want to go against. And then if they get some of their guys back, I feel like I talked about this last week too. It's such scary hours over there. They're scary. That's all I'll say.
The team I'm looking at more in the West, the more I just watch them, I'm like loving the brand of basketball. It's the Dallas Mavericks. I'm really bought in, man. Gabe, I give you the credit. Spencer Dinwiddie was a very good pickup, man. He's turned it around. He's really turned it around. And then, of course, you know what you're getting from Luka, man. But I'm loving how like the pick and roll with the White Pals looking like it was a couple of years ago before the bubble. It's looking really good. Brunson's been very solid all season long. And then guys are hitting shots like Reggie Bullock is hitting the shots. Luka can make something out of nothing. Like this team on paper doesn't look super talented. But if you're just getting like good games from Spencer Dinwiddie, you're getting production from Brunson, and then Kleber's hitting shots. Dorian Finney-Smith is hitting shots. I got to give him a shout out. That makes it seem so deadly because Luka's so good. He only needs so much from his other guys. So that's a team like I really think they can beat maybe anybody in the first round. Like they can really contend with anybody in that first round, no matter who it is. But if they're sitting like the 4 or 5 seed, if they play Utah, I think we mentioned this last week, like Dallas will probably be the favorite in that series. I even think like they can give the Warriors a run for their money. I think they could give the Grizzlies a run for their money. That's a scary team. That is a very scary team that I don't think anybody wants to see in the first round.
I'd probably pick the Mavericks over the Jazz. In a 7-game series, honestly, just thinking about it, the way the Jazz have been exposed year after year, I feel like it's only going to get easier to game plan and take them out. And, the Mavericks are like a half game away from having home court advantage, and they've been playing better recently. So by the time we get to playoff time, they might have home court advantage in that series. Now, could the matchup change? Could they end up playing Denver first round or something? Yeah, I think they would, and I think that's probably a harder matchup in my opinion. But, yeah, the Mavericks could easily make a run. Then with the Suns, like, health issues and stuff, if they still got guys out in the playoffs, if they're, like, not back in the full swing, they're definitely beatable. Still a great team, but beatable.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Dallas have looked great. They're arguably the hottest team in the league right now over the last couple of weeks, and specifically since the trade deadline. And to your point, Gabe, as much as the Suns, I think, are significantly better than everyone else in the West right now, I also don't think they're unbeatable by any stretch. I don't think anyone in this year's league is unbeatable. I think everyone is beatable for the most part. And I think that's what's going to make it such an exciting playoffs going into it is there's not necessarily it's going to have to be a Suns versus Heat or it's so open. And Dallas are very much going to be part of that conversation. I think they are favored against Utah. And I think they have a chance against pretty much everyone else in the West, although, of course, the Suns would be much more difficult than everyone else. I think they've given themselves a real shot. I think Luka's been right on top of his game since he started off slow at the start of the year. This is a good team. They're going to be tough to beat in the playoffs, no doubt.
Yeah, and I really got to, apologize for, I really criticized them heavily for not only their offseason, but, of course, the trade deadline. I really did not think, they got better off of that move. I didn't think they necessarily got worse, but I didn't think that they improved that much. I was wrong, and it's really opened the game up so much for Luka. You don't have to worry about trying to get Porzingis his touches and stuff, so Luka can just rock out and do what he does. They're kind of building kind of similar to how the Hawks just, they let Trae Young work, and then they got second and third guys that can shot create. They're not super elite, but if they're playing good, they're good for 16, 18 points a night. So I got to give a shout out to their front office. They really made necessary moves, and sometimes less is more for guys like a Luka Doncic.